So let's talk about elimination. We have a level 2 problem here, and we notice that these two coefficients are the same. In that case, we're used to subtracting, right? Because if we have the same coefficient, we can subtract and they'll go away. But it's a little bit trickier when we have all negatives. So in this case, if you have all negatives, remember that addition is usually easier. So you're going to subtract, but once you add subtraction over here, go ahead and change all of the signs. That just makes it easier. What you're in effect saying is, yes, I'm subtracting all of this, but subtracting the negatives means I can change the signs. So when we do that, we get these cancel. 6y minus 3y is 3y. 6 plus 12 is 18. We get to y equals 6 with division. And then we're going to plug into one of the equations. I noticed with a green dot, or I've denoted with a green dot which equation I'm plugging into. So I take this y and I plug it in here and here. And then I just solve for x and get x equals 5. So let's look at a level 3 problem. So in level 3, we notice that these coefficients, neither of them are the same. But we notice that this one is half of 16. And I want to keep it negative so I can do addition over here. So I multiply times 2 to get me negative 16 and positive 16. Right? If I multiply negative 8 by 2, I get positive 16. Or sorry, I get negative 16, which is the opposite of 16. And I know that they will cancel. So I'm going to multiply everything by 2 to keep it balanced. So when I do that, I get negative 16x minus 12y equals 12. That's basically by distributing. Okay. And then these cancel. Negative 10 plus a negative 12 is negative 22. 10 plus 12 is 22, and y equals negative 1. I'm plugging into this equation, so you'll notice that the negative 1 goes in here and here. And then I solve, and x is 0. If you get a situation where you're solving and you get 0 on one side, you may want to check and make sure you've done everything right. But if you have, it's very possible that one of your x, that either your x or your y could be 0. In this case, when we divide 0 by negative 8, we have x by itself to make 0. A level 4 problem. So level 4 problem is when these coefficients are not the same. They also are not multiples of each other. So in that case, we look for the easiest way to do it in this case, which is if I multiply negative 7 times 4, I get 28. Sorry, negative 28. If I multiply 4 times negative 7, I get positive 28. Those are opposites, so I can add them. Right? You always want this coefficient and this coefficient to be opposites because addition is easier, as we learned from this problem. Subtracting negatives can get tricky sometimes. So these cancel. Sorry, by distribution, you're going to find this expression. These cancel. These make 95. Adding these makes 190, and y equals negative 2. I'm plugging into this equation, so y is going to go here and here. And when I simplify, I get x equals 1. And that's elimination.